Good evening. This is Bible Answers, and we're going to, or at least we're going to plan on finishing up John chapter 11 this evening. My name is Evan Gregory. This is brought to you by the North Columbus Church of Christ. We're located in Columbus, Mississippi. Our website scrolling below me is northcolumbuschristians.com, and there you can find out more about us. You can find past sermons there as well. And we meet Sundays 9, 10, and 11 a.m. in the morning, and then also on Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. So anybody's invited. We'd love to have for you to visit. And we've been working our way through John for the last several weeks on our show here. We finished up last time. We were in John chapter 11, and we actually finished around verse 27. And so we see a situation where Lazarus, uh, Jesus knows him. He's he was his friend. Jesus obviously just really cares for Lazarus. We're introduced to Mary and Martha here, and John actually tells us a little bit more about who Mary is before we actually get to her story later on in the book of John. But he tells us exactly who she is. She will be the we'll read more about her later on, and so we'll pick up in verse 28. So there's a problem here. Lazarus is dead. We do see where uh, there's this situation where Martha is has come, so Jesus is making his way to them. He's in Bethany, which is I think it said it was a couple miles away from Jerusalem. Martha comes to him and basically saying, if you would have showed up, he would have lived. If you would have showed up when he was alive, he would have not died. And so that takes us into verses 28 through 31. It says, and when she had said these things, she went her way and secretly called Mary her sister, saying, the teacher has come and is calling for you. As soon as she heard that, she arose quickly and came to him. Now Jesus had not yet come into the town, but was in the place where Martha met him. Then the Jews who were with her in the house and comforting her, when they saw that Mary rose up quickly and went out, followed her, saying, she is going to the going to the tomb to weep there. And so we see the continuation of the story. Martha has met Jesus. She calls for Mary and says that Jesus, the teacher, is, as she puts it, is calling for her. And so she basically is going and going to meet him. And so we see where the Jews, they're thinking that she's going out to Lazarus's tomb, and so there's not just a whole lot here. But again, it's just the continuation of this narrative in which we now see Mary going to meet Jesus. And so we see in verses 32 through 36, it says, then when Mary came where Jesus was and saw him, she fell down at his feet, saying to him, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Therefore, when Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who came with her weeping, he groaned in the spirit and was troubled. And he said, where have you laid him? They said to him, Lord, come and see. Jesus wept. Then the Jews said, see how he loved him. So Mary comes to him, and is basically saying the same thing that Martha said to him. If you would have been here, my brother would have not died. We see where there's so obviously Mary and Martha is distressed. Jesus, knowing he has plans, he knows what he's going to do. But we still see here that he's, as John puts it, that it says that he groaned in the spirit and was troubled. He's also distressed about this. He's troubled by what he's seeing here. We even see where Jesus weeps over Lazarus being dead. He sees his tomb there, and we see the response to the Jews that were near. It says that see how he loved him. He deeply cares for Lazarus, and so it's real interesting here that I think you really see the human side of Jesus, that he knows, and if you're familiar with the story, you know what's going to happen. And Jesus has plans, and he knows what he's going to do. but yet at the same time, you do see the effect of Lazarus being dead has on Jesus. We see how he's troubled by the others around him as well. And so, again, it is taking a toll on Jesus just seeing, uh, what's happening around him. And so it takes us to verses 37 through 41. It says, "And some of them said, Could not this man who opened the eyes of the blind also have kept this man from dying?" Then Jesus, again groaning in himself, came to the tomb. It was a cave, and a stone lay against it. Jesus said, Take away the stone. Martha, the sister of him who was dead, said to him, Lord, by this time there is a stench, for he has been dead 4 days. Jesus said to her, Did I not say to you that if you would believe, you would see the glory of God? Then they took away the stone from the place where the dead man was lying. And Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, Father, I thank you that you have heard me. A few chapters ago, a couple of chapters ago, we see where Jesus heals a blind man. We see that how the blind man reacts. He knows that this man, Jesus is not just some witch doctor or whatever. He knows that this is very unusual, and nobody can heal unless God is with him. And so we see where these people here they're remembering that Jesus opened the eyes of the blind, and they note how remarkable of a miracle it was. And they're questioning. He's healed the blind. Could he not have also kept this man from dying? It seems as though that's what they think. If he can heal blindness, then he can cure sickness or whatever it may be. He could have healed him from dying. And so they're questioning him. Jesus is saying, Take away the stone from Lazarus' tomb. There's Martha's response. He has been dead 4 days, that there will be a stench here. And so and one thing I point out here is that it's, with him being dead so long, it's obvious that he is actually dead. He's not passed out. He's not, any of that. He's been in this tomb he's been here for 4 days. It's obvious that he's gone. He's done. And so we see it later on. We'll see how remarkable of a miracle that he's fixing to do here with Lazarus. So it's been some time now that Lazarus is dead. Jesus said to her, Did I not say to you that if you would believe, you would see the glory of God? And so they take away the stone, and he starts praying to God. He says, Father, I thank you that you have heard me. Going on to 42 through 46, it says, And I know that you always hear me, but because of the people who are standing by, I said this, that they may believe that you sent me. And when he had said these things, he cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. And he who had died came out bound, hand and foot, with grave clothes, and his face was wrapped with a cloth. Jesus said to them, Loose him and let him go. Then many of the Jews who had come to Mary and had seen the things Jesus did believed in him. But some of them went away to the Pharisees and told them the things Jesus did. So he starts praying to God here, the Father. He's saying these things. He knows that God is with him. He knows that God is hearing him. But he's saying these things to the Father so that those that are around him will believe that God sent him, but the Father sent him. And so he raises Lazarus from the dead. Now, again, he's been dead 4 days here. And so, it's kind of, you can't take this lightly. He's raising people from the dead. People who were dead are now alive. Things that are impossible, so supposedly, not for Jesus here. He comes out, and we see where he's. I get this picture of it's like he's looking like a mummy, an Egyptian mummy coming forth, being wrapped up in these clothes. And so he's alive. He's still wrapped up in the clothes. He's dead. He's now alive. They loose him from these grave clothes, and so a remarkable miracle has occurred. And so he's healed blind people. which nobody has been able to do. Now he's not just healing people, not just healing people that were close to death, but people that have already dead, and now he's raised people from the dead that they are now alive. And so the Jews here, seeing these things, says that many of them believed in him. And so, I mean, I would that's an obvious reaction. I would expect it. And now, once they've seen this, there's no denying who he is. Uh, they all know that he's Lazarus is dead. This is not some scheme cooked up by Jesus. Jesus wasn't even around. He's miles away, and so they can't. You cannot deny the miracle that has occurred. But we also see where some of them go to the Pharisees, to the Jewish leaders, and tells them the things in which Jesus did. Notice their response in verses 47 through 52. It says, Then the chief priests and the Pharisees gathered a council and said, What shall we do? For this man works many signs. If we let him alone like this, everyone will believe in him, and the Romans will come and take away both our place and nation. We'll stop there. Notice the response of that. So it's uh, it's remarkable, their response here, that he's healed blind people, he's raising people from the dead. The response of these people are not, oh well, he may actually be the Messiah. Maybe we ought to pay attention to him. Uh, they know that he works many signs, uh, but they said if we let him alone like this, everyone's going to believe him. Well, that's you would think so if he keeps on doing these things. What else? But these people, the rulers, they won't believe in him. Notice their next statement says, "Then the Romans will come and take away both our place and nation." It seems as though they think Jesus, when everybody's going to follow him, they're going to believe him, and so that means that he's going to be. I think in their minds that he's going to become a great king, a great ruler, because of this. That he's going to be the king, the emperor of the Judean area now. And if that happens, then what's going to happen? The Romans are going to come, go to war with us, and they're going to take away both our place and nation. So they're concerned by this, which is it's another thing that's puzzling to me with this reaction, because with their ideas, uh, they thought that their Messiah was going to be like a king, that they're going to throw out the Romans and anybody who's trying to rule over them. They're going to become their own independent nation again. And yet here we see, well, if these people follow Jesus, everybody starts following Jesus, well, the Romans will come and fight against us and take away both our place and nation. So I don't know what's going. It's quite a conundrum for me what's going on in the minds of these leaders. It just seems as though they're just coming up with anything and everything, even if they are contradicting themselves, to just not let Jesus continue what he's doing. There's something about him that repulses them. I think that it has a lot to do with their pride. They're not willing to humble themselves. Jesus is not following the preconceptions that they have of what a Messiah was going to be. And again, they just won't let go of their power. So continuing on, it says, and one of them, Caiaphas, being high priest that year, said to them, You know nothing at all, nor do you consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and not that the whole nation should perish. Now this he did not say on his own authority, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus would die for the nation, and not for that nation only, but also that he would gather together in one the children of God that were scattered abroad. So we have Caiaphas here. And notice what he's prophesied. He's prophesying that Jesus is going to die. He's going to gather all the children of God. And so he's saying this again. He's inspired. He said this through God. He knows this is what's going to happen, and that should be something that should be lingering on his mind. That maybe this guy is legit. But he says before that Uh, he's basically saying to these people that Jesus, he needs to die. You know nothing at all, nor do you consider that it is expedient us for that one man should die for the people, not that the whole nation should perish. So if we let him continue on, we may have some trouble with the Romans. The whole nation might perish, but it's more expedient that one man should die for the people. Now, beyond that, just think about that statement for the moment here of the truth that of what Caiaphas is saying. And so he's not saying that Jesus ought to die for the sins of the world, but what he is saying is true in context of Jesus and what he did for us. That one man died for the people. One man died for the people so that the nation, so that everyone could be saved, so that they won't perish. And so, of course, he has a different idea. He's saying, let's get rid of him, and so that we the nation won't be destroyed or perish. Verses 53 through 57, it says, then from that day on, they plotted to put him to death. Therefore, Jesus no longer walked openly among the Jews, but went from there in a country near the wilderness to a city called Ephraim, and there remained with his disciples. And the Passover of the Jews was near. And many went from the country up to Jerusalem before the Passover to purify themselves. Then they sought Jesus and spoke among themselves. They stood in the temple. What do you think? That he will come, that he will not come to the feast? And both the chief priests and the Pharisees had given him of command that if anyone knew where he was, he should report it, that they might seize him. So they want to put Jesus to death. Now Jesus is staying away from them. He no longer walks openly among the Jews. He's in Ephraim. And so we see some time passes. Now we're getting to the time of the Passover. And so there's a question amongst the Jews. Is he going to come? What do you think? Is he not going to come to the feast? And so we got the people wondering if he's going to come. And so we also have the leaders, the chief priests and the Pharisees, giving a command that if anybody sees him, or if anybody sees him, they should report it so that they will seize him, so that they can get their hands on him. So the Pharisees have finally had enough of Jesus. They're looking now to kill him, and they're making they've wanted to get rid of him for some time, rather, but they're ratcheting up their schemes to get a hold of him, seize him, and to kill him. And so that ends us in chapter 11. If there are any questions or comments, I know we're at the end now. I always forget to mention that live comments, or you can comment live. I'll try to respond to them, and those are always available. If you have a comment even after the show, feel free to leave that. We put all these videos on YouTube. Our YouTube page is North Columbus Church of Christ. You can find all of our previous Bible Answer episodes there, and so we got a bunch. It will keep you busy for quite some time. But next time, or next show, we're going to start looking at John chapter 12, and we'll just keep on working our way through the book of John. But as always, I hope that this has been useful and that you all have a good day and a good rest of the week. Thanks.